Welcome to episode 6 in my series on dreams. My name is Candice Sanderson. In the last episode, I talked about using dreams as a launch pad for exploration into the cosmos. From a lucid dream, for example, we can change the scenery. We can grab the tail of a comet as it zooms by and just explore the world beyond. I also mentioned something called recapitulation. This is the process the messengers have told me about. Recapitulation stems from an indigenous tradition to revisit events through memories in your life. As you release those events, those memories, we free our personal space and allow for fresh energy to enter. I realize the more I learn about exploring consciousness, the less I know. Those lines between the dimensions blur. I cannot always tell the difference between a dream, a vision, or a meditation, or perhaps an out-of-body experience. As they happen in real time, of course I can, but then when I actually drill down into the experience, those boundaries shift and blur. For example, a dream can provide as much information and sometimes even more than a vision or a message from one of my guides. But all of these dreams, visions, messages, NDEs, out-of-body experiences, they are all a subset of an STE, a spiritually transformative experience. Does it matter how it came to you? Does it matter if it's a dream or whether it's a conversation with an angel? I'm thinking, no, it really does not matter. You see, our guides try to reach us in many ways. But, for example, we may not remember our dreams. So there's a backup plan. An errant thought, a synchronistic event. Sometimes it's just a knowing or a chance encounter with the stranger with the right answer. Or maybe a picture falling off the wall, which, by the way, just happened to me, but that's for another time to discuss. But eventually, each of us will find our own path. It's whatever gets the job done. Let's go back to the topic of recapitulation. As we release memories that no longer serve us, we make room for fresh energy. These new frequencies revitalize us, and that stale old energy no longer drags us down. In one of my books, I'm pretty sure it's this first one, The Reluctant Messenger, the messenger shared a vision with me that really captured the reason for needing to release this stale energy. In other words, to recapitulate. Let me share with you the vision. But first, let me talk in general about some people I worked with as a psychologist. And you know them. Some of them are your friends and your family. But we see them and they're trapped in these self-destructive patterns, self-destructive behavior. Whether it's abuse or addiction or anything else, these people just cannot break away from these habits and routines. They finally leave that significant other who had abusive tendencies, only to fall into a similar relationship a few months later. As outsiders, we see the patterns, but they do not. Part of the change comes from learning to release our personal history. That can reduce drama. It can build a new foundation from which to change our lives. It loosens those tethers to these self-destructive patterns. This is when my vision from the messengers really came in handy. It was so powerful. I could actually see the effect that these patterns have on us. But first, let me share the message I received about releasing my personal history. And as soon as I had this message, the vision accompanied it. This was in July. It was July 8th, 2014. From the messengers. Letting go of personal history will eliminate drama. Drama occurs when there is a perceived wrongdoing or a perceived injury by another person or a group of people. If you no longer engage in past personal history, there is nothing to react to. Personal history has its own set of energy. If you drag it along, it will only hold you back. Drama has no beneficial results. It has a multiplicity of negative results. And one thing key in this message is the perceived wrongdoing or the perceived injury. How many times does something occur where we feel hurt or injured by something someone did, but that was certainly not their intention. It was within our perception that we misunderstood. But this is when a vision started. I saw myself standing in a field. I was on this large grassy field, and I was wearing this bulky harness and backpack. And there were cords that were streaming from the backpack that were connected to a parachute. Now, the parachute was several feet behind me and just lying on the ground. And then big gusts of wind came and they caught the folds of the parachute. And the parachute started lifting off the ground. And as it did, it yanked me backwards. And I saw myself from this aerial view. I was like leaning forward, leaning against the pull of the cords with all my strength. But that parachute continued that upward motion in response to these winds that kept getting stronger and stronger. Just when I thought the parachute would lift me off the ground, one by one, the cords snapped. And so increment by increment, it reduced that tension on my back. And I could finally inch forward. And as more of them broke, I was like totally released from the burden of the parachute. I felt euphoric. It's like I no longer had to struggle. I was finally free. For me, this was such a powerful vision. It showed me, and I was able to actually experience how the past affected me. How can we move forward in life if we have that constant strain, that constant tug of our past dramas that burden us? We can't move forward. At least we cannot do so efficiently. We're always fighting the pull that wants to keep us stuck in the past. By not releasing the past, we are in this endless loop of mayhem. The scenes remain constant, but the characters change. There is nothing that can instill drama in our lives as much as our past. But we are the ones in control. We can choose to release the past or let it imprison us and fuel more chaos. And this goes back to what I began this session with. The messages come through various ways. In this case, the dream, followed by a message and then a vision. Learning about recapitulation teaches us to let go. Recapitulation naturally occurs during sleep, which is what I talked about during the last episode. But we can step up the process and we can do so intentionally during our waking state. When we release and free ourselves from that stale and sometimes negative energy, we open up a beautiful space, a sacred space that keeps us moving in the right direction. If we're bogged down, we miss those opportunities that might make a big difference in our lives. With a cleaner energy field, we can, quote, see the light of understanding and we gain clarity. I'm going to share one of my earlier messages about recapitulation and how it not only helps with this life, but it comes in handy when it's transition time. This is from my second book, The Reluctant Messenger Returns, an unexpected adventure into the angelic realm. This is a message from July 15th, 2014. When humans drop their physical forms to transition, the glue that holds their energy body begins to dissipate, allowing these bubbles to go forth away from the physical body. This is why humans have life reviews. Memories of life are stored in these bubbles, but they are more than just memories. Because this is an energy exchange, an energy connection, it is not limited to the five physical senses. As the human transitions, the non-physical self begins to take over. But this too is a transition as it moves toward its true nature. As the glue of life dissolves, the non-physical being, which is us, our essence, our energy, our spirit, the non-physical being can study all aspects of their earth plane existence through these energy bubbles. The human reviews the earth plane life as these bubbles of memory disengage from the physical body. But it is more than just a simple observation, for these energy packets can be experienced with the fuller set of senses. The humans can see, hear, taste, smell, and touch any and all aspects within the memory bubbles. They not only re-experience the event with all emotions still intact, but they can relive it through the senses of others who might be part of that memory, even if only tangential. The review offers a complete recapitulation of life events with exquisite detail not available during their existence on the earth plane. This message talks about the life review process. I'm sure most of you know this process as we transition and our life flashes before us. What I love about this message is that the life review is the ultimate recapitulation. I have received other messages about the life review and recapitulation. You can read about some of those in the Reluctant Messenger Returns. But bottom line, the recapitulation called the life review is necessary for a complete transition to occur. This occurs on two levels. One is philosophical. We learn as we review our life. We discover what others felt as we interacted with them. We learn and we experience what would have happened if we had made different choices. What I loved about this experience is that we discovered the impact that we had on other people. That smile as you pass a stranger on the street, that kind gesture of opening a door for a stranger, those small acts of kindness that we forget. Well, we'll see how powerful these were to others. What we thought of as insignificant were very significant for others. And we will be able to see the ripple effect. We see how these small acts of kindness don't just stop with the person we spoke to or the person that we helped. Those positive energy patterns ripple throughout the other person's life. So that's a great learning tool during the life review. But I said there were two reasons for the life review. It's the second reason that surprised me. The messengers told me the life review was required because it was basic physics. We needed to lighten our energy load. As we transition, our energy body needs to release the dense energies from the earth plane. These energies are stored in packets or bubbles, and they remain in our energy field. As we practice recapitulation during our waking hours, and we already know it occurs during sleep and dreaming, we will lighten the load that we carry when it's time for our final transition. This life review is that ultimate and final act of recapitulation, and we can help it along. So hopefully you've learned something that happens naturally, seamlessly when we sleep. We release stale energy from the day-to-day life. But now through the messengers, I had a grander perspective. I was given the chance to see just why it is so important. And finally, learning about the great recapitulation, the life review, and the reasons behind it, to me, that was priceless. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to like, to subscribe, to comment. And until next time, remember that kindness does matter. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and we'll make this world a better place, one smile at a time. So until next time,